Still talking on how best we can maintain peace in the Niger Delta. Joining us this time is the editor, The Guardian on Sunday, Abraham Ogbodo. He's also a former essay to the former NDDC managing director. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're looking at this issue from one who's also done an extensive work in the region, and for someone who's also served in one of those interventions agencies in the region. We had a talk now with Mr. Tunji and Abayomi. He believes that a whole lot needs to be done. He thinks that we should rejig the constitution and we should talk as a people. But for someone who's also from the region and who understands the people better, give us a perspective of what, your perspective of what it is like that the people are going through for the benefit of those who haven't actually visited the Niger Delta.
Yes, the Niger Delta actually is an area that every true Nigerian leader should endeavor to get to, not just by way of visits and then there will be ceremonies around such visits. You go there and try and feel the area, the ecological challenges, the sociological challenges, and all the attendant issues. That's the only way you can now come back to yourself and say, you have to do things differently. Otherwise, we shall continue in this part of tokenism. Just give a little and then let's have some respite, and then business continues as usual. It's not possible. We have to go deep down to the issues, meet the people, have their feelings, know how they think, know what the problems are. But it's like every other thing, every solution is imposed on the people. Even the leadership of the area is imposed on the people. And it can't work.
You know, some of us grew up getting to know Ompadek.
Yes.
Then pretty much later, the NDDC,
yeah.
The Minister of Niger Delta.
Yeah.
Would you say all these didn't bring about development? Because for fear of not using the word failed, did they fail?
Yes, they failed. Absolutely. Because if they didn't fail, we would not be having the challenges we're having now. They were actually created, intended to speak to the issues, but it has not happened. And that means they failed.
How did they fail if they had a purpose for the creation?
Yes, because they have objectives. The NDDC, for instance, right from the time of Ompadek, before it got to NDDC, the purpose is to intervene in the issues of the Niger Delta, then redress all the conditions and bring them to baseline conditions and make life livable in the area. That has not happened.
Why hasn't it happened?
Is the point I'm going to explain now. It has not happened because there has never been sincerity of purpose. Each time a government wakes up, starting with Babangida, who created the Ompadek, they will just feel that because they don't really speak to the people. I think a guy was here early this week when he was saying that whatever solution crafted in the headquarters, Abuja or Lagos here, imposed on the people, and then they got some people to also deliver the same set of solutions that were crafted and imposed. And of course, those solutions don't get down to the people, and that is the problem. When you talk of Ompadek, it was created with so much fanfare and then funded to address the issues. And when Ompadek failed, they brought NDDC. If you look at NDDC till this moment, it has become a huge outpost to distribute political patronage. A very huge outpost. You have a commission that is meant to intervene in issues of development, which is, in fact, otherwise called interventionist agency. But you now constrain it with even the bureaucracy. You bring a board made solely of politicians that will be put there not for any purpose, not for what they believe in, not for their credentials as development experts, but for the fact that they belong to a political party. And when they get there, they see it first and foremost as part of their heritage, that yes, we are here to share in the heritage. And that is where you now see all along the history has been, when they get there, they use it as a platform to build a war chest, to build capacity.
I come back, I pick on the word you use. You said sincerity of purpose is absent in the whole affair of the Niger Delta development, because if you look at these interventionist agencies, OMPADEC, NDDC, and even the ministry, and the IOCs and the oil majors, we have a whole lot of interest groups that should have brought about the much needed development. How possible is it that at every point in time, or as you put it, we put in people to run the affairs and even representatives of the people who don't have the interest of their own people?
In fact, that is the problem that we should really come around to solve. The NDDC, let's look at it in the first place. You know, the President Olusegun Obasanjo was even overruled, was overruled by the National Assembly regarding the NDDC Act. And the NDDC Act clearly states that the federal government has a percentage to contribute, the state government, and then the IOC, the international oil companies. Outside international oil companies, which contribute about 3% of their gross budget, every other stakeholder has observed the NDDC Act in breach. The federal government does not even contribute its statutory, is it 15% of the total budget that goes to the 6 oil states or the 9 oil states. They observe it in breach. It is the reason why today they talk of about 500 billion or more that is still outstanding with government. The state government does not even contribute. And so the NDDC, and then when you not talk of people that are appointed to manage the NDDC, much of the appointment will come through the state government, which is the point I made earlier, that is an outpost for political patronage, to distribute political patronage. People will just be there, and then, of course, the NDDC, for the years it has run, is more or less extension of the state government houses. Those 9 governors that constitute the NDDC states. The NDDC is an extension of their own offices, because the people they put there, either as reps, or even the executive management that is made up of the MD, the EDs, the 2 EDs, they are carefully chosen to make sure that they just do what their respective state governors want them to do.
You know, we had a gentleman here, I'm sure he's the same gentleman you were referring to, young Piero, and he said the political class who lays with the government at the center over the years don't give true reflection of what the people want. And he also accused those that have been speaking on behalf of the region that ultimately they go there once they get sorted out for their personal gains, they leave the region even worse than it was. Looking at the move that the last administration has done, starting from late President Yaradua, talking about the amnesty program, that has seen a lot of young people from the region go for one training or the other all over the world and within the country. Don't you think that there is an intention, first, which is very key here, and a purpose towards solving the problem of the Niger Delta?
I won't doubt that. There has always been an intention, good intention. You know, is the delivery, the implementation of this intention that has been the issue. You take the amnesty program, for instance. If you look at it with the achievements it has made, recorded so-called achievements, you will also agree that the project was not, or the program was not clearly thought through. It was like almost fire brigade approach. We have some crisis on our hands. Let's deliver this solution. And then it wasn't clearly thought through to say that, okay, in the end, this is what we hope to achieve. So it was not envisioned, as it were. Rather, it was ad hoc. Let's just do it to save the moment, because oil production had gone down from 2.4 million barrels a day to below 1 million, as it is even today now. Then the President Yar'Adua there was alarmed and said, okay, let us deliver this. So it was not clearly thought through. The young people that were trained, they begin to ask. Some of them, even when they were after the change of government, many of them were stranded where they were sent to, and it became an issue. What should be done to at least complete the program to a conclusion, to get it to a point when those that had been committed to training could at least return. Then when they come back, what else? How have they been integrated into the system? Which is the point. Now, let me just make this point. My MD, when he came, the man that I served under in NDDC.
No, was that a Chibuzo?
Yes, Chibuzo Ugoha. You know, what people didn't know was that I never knew the man from anywhere. I think my name was suggested to him. And of all the aides that worked with him, I think I was the only person that came a kind of through a due process. We took time, more than 2 weeks, to brainstorm. Himself and his aide, we came together to say, okay, let us even a vision. And in the end, we came to one conclusion that the Niger Delta, the issues there, they are not just about infrastructure development. We are also talking of human capacity building. That these are the only way that we must tackle it from these two perspectives. As we develop infrastructure, we should also develop the capacity of the human beings. Because you cannot build infrastructure if the human beings are not there, if they are not developed, they cannot even sustain this infrastructure. And then we came to the other strand of the vision that the government alone cannot do this. So what we look at for development partners, international partners, that can actually partner with agencies, stakeholders in the Niger Delta to deliver the solutions that we have always wanted to deliver in the region.
Did that work?
It couldn't work because he didn't understand the politics, which meant that he had the vision, but he didn't get the strategy right. You understand? And his own time, the 2 years he stayed, was the most turbulent in the life of the NDDC. So he didn't understand the politics.